Hello, everyone. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I have a very special guest with me today, Dr. Camilla Lawrence. Thank you so much for coming on the show and providing the information that you're going to share with us, which is really, really important. But before we get into all that, I always start every single show off with, do your job to crush COVID. We are at 59.1% in this country, and I don't think that's herd immunity. Mm-hmm. And Connecticut is doing a lot better than that, but we have a new variant out. And if you're unable to take the vaccine or the booster, wear your mask, do what you need to do to protect yourself and to protect everybody else, your family members and everybody else around you, because I just feel like we're going to be in this state for a while. And I can't wait to get out of it. I can't wait to not wear my mask again, you know, at the gym or, you know, when I go to the grocery store. So anyway, that's my little 2 cents on COVID that I always try to, you know, put out there for everybody. Dr. Camilla Lawrence is here today, and I'm so glad that you decided to accept our invitation. She is the Juneteenth, the 2022 Juneteenth Grand Marshal, yes. And she's also the Director of Breast Cancer Surgery for the Hartford Health Care Center. So, Camilla, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And just like to start out by just introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about how you got started in wanting to join the medical field. Are you following behind parents' footsteps, or just how did you get into all that? Just walk us through your little story.
So I've been an attendant surgeon now for about 10 years. My practice is limited primarily to the management of women with breast disease, both benign as well as malignant diseases. I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and I currently work for Hartford Healthcare. I'm in the Central Region as the Director of Breast Surgery for the organization. I'm the first in my family to graduate college.
Really?
So, yeah. So
congratulations.
Definitely. Oh, thank you. So no physicians in my family prior to myself, and you know, I've always been intrigued by the medical profession, its ability to heal others ever since I was a little girl, since I can recall. So I started out being interested in medicine because my own grandfather was very sick as a child while growing up, and I remember wanting to mend things, wanted to heal him so that he could feel better.
Right.
And as I got older, that interest was nurtured by my parents. I had the benefit of a great elementary as well as a high school education, and then I went on to obtain my undergraduate degree at Fordham University. And while I was there, I was able to solidify that interest that led to medical school application. Yeah.
I love the way she makes it sound so easy. You got to be really, really smart to become a doctor, number one. And you got to go to school a really, really long time. Yeah. And you have to be inspired and have the passion that you do to want to help people. Yeah. I love that story. That's a wonderful story. So you're the first in your family to graduate from college.
Yeah, you know, I am.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I had a lot. Thank you. I had a lot of support on that journey. There were a lot of folks who were not family, but necessarily they were the family that I made along the way that helped to blaze the trails for me, helped to open opportunities, and provided the support that I needed in order to be where I am and who I am today.
Where are you from?
I was originally born in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
My parents immigrated here. We settled on Long Island, and later on, throughout my medical training, one of the hospitals that I rotated through was St. Vincent's Medical Center here in Connecticut. So that was my first introduction to Connecticut. I was here for 5 years back then, in 2010 through to 2015, and then 2010 to 2015, and then I returned, no, actually 2005 to 2010, and then in 2015 I came back as a surgeon at St. Vincent's.
Wow, I'm so glad you came back.
Yeah.
And the community loves you. So, and you were nominated, well, you are the 2022 Juneteenth Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
So that means, you know, everybody loves her. She's doing all these great things in the community. And what are some of the duties or some of the events that you have planned for, you know, being a Grand Marshal?
You know, I'm really excited about this opportunity to serve the community in this capacity. It's an honor, to be honest with you. And you know, Juneteenth, I've always said it's an American holiday. And earlier this year, our leadership made it a national federal holiday. My responsibility as the Grand Marshal pales in comparison to the trailblazers and those who are on the board who do the heavy lifting year-round. But my goal this year is really to increase visibility of the organization as well as the holiday itself and what it means. I will tell you, I'm pretty confident from my conversations with many adults in my community, among my peers, who have no idea what Juneteenth is or was. And I'll say it here, it's a national holiday that commemorates the abolition of slavery within the United States. And I cannot think of a much more important date to celebrate than a time in our history when we decided that it was no longer acceptable to enslaved human beings. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity to serve the community. There are several events that are underway. I'm going to be reaching out to all facets of our community throughout Connecticut as well as beyond our state to support this event. It's coming up. It is Juneteenth, so it's on June 19th of next year. And leading up to that event will be several activities, including fundraising activities. There are opportunities for donation and contribution towards the event. We have a black tie event that's coming up on December 11th.
Oh, good.
There are a series of different events. There's a flag raising ceremony at the Capitol with our governor. I will say the board of directors, they have worked tremendously hard to really get a footprint within our state regarding this holiday, and we're just going to build on it throughout my Grand Marshal tenure.
And one of the reasons I asked you about that is because I was a Juneteenth 2020 parade marshal. And of course, we were shut down in 2020, so I just have my sash. I look at it occasionally.
Yeah.
You know, I have my title. Here's the proof. I was there.
Yeah.
So we were able to, you know, enjoy the 2021 Juneteenth. I went to all the events and things like that. And now I'm on the committee, and I look forward to raising awareness as much as I possibly can because people just don't know what Juneteenth is. Why is there Juneteenth? I mean, I know everybody's happy they got a holiday. They're like, okay, it's Juneteenth, but do you know what that really means?
It's more, and that's a very good point because it's more than just a holiday. It's more than a day off from work. I hope that eventually what this will transform into, Juneteenth becomes a day of not just celebration, but an opportunity to give back to our respective communities. But this year, the celebration itself, as it was last year, it's being held outdoors, so hopefully the pandemic won't impact us too much, as will be held at the beautiful Seaside Park. So we're looking forward to having a grand day. Hopefully the weather is favorable, and we can really get the message out and create an environment of unity. And that's what Juneteenth is really about, is really to focus on togetherness, community, building something special.
And celebrating diversity. I mean, I was in a parade last year, and I had to make a spectacle of myself. I popped out of my sunroof since I didn't have a convertible car, and my husband drove, and people were like, driving Miss Daisy. I don't know if everybody saw that movie. But it was so much fun, and we had so many people out at Seaside Park. And then afterwards, we had we had another celebration with all the vendor tables. We had entertainment. It was just really, really wonderful. And a lot, I know there's a lot of people that didn't know about it. So we're kicking off in 2021 to, just share this information with everybody you know. We're going to be on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. So you can always just pull this up. Maybe we'll make a title here, Juneteenth or something, so that everybody could know what Juneteenth is, come out and celebrate it. And it doesn't matter who you are, because what happened way back then is not going to, affect anything right now. Like you said, we want to come together. I love everybody. I don't care who they are, until you give me a real good reason not to. Okay, so that does happen occasionally, but just to celebrate our own heritage holiday is just phenomenal. This is just for us. It's just, it was created just for us, but everyone can celebrate it.
It's an American holiday, and that's the way I like to articulate it. It's for everyone to celebrate that date, that moment in time when we decided that we weren't going to do this anymore. We weren't going to enslave human beings in this country.
An American holiday based on
the history.
Slavery.
Exactly.
And our history is so important, because it seems like, and I'm sorry to cut you off, it seems like, they're trying to suppress it, like Black history isn't important. Should we teach it in school or should we not? Just to, and I think it's just so important that we know.
Well, I think
if we went through it, I'm sure people can read about it. It's not.
I think it's important to understand who you are, where we've been as a country, to heal from that and be able to move forward.
Exactly.
So we've made progress. There's still several progress still needs to be made, but I am cautiously optimistic that we're headed in the right direction.
I'm very optimistic.
Very. As we continue to identify the right leaders within our respective communities, we will continue to grow as a community, and I think we will benefit from the richness of a diverse community where everyone is allowed to maximize their potential and contribute accordingly. Exactly.
You said the key thing right there, the right leaders, because, attitude is a reflection of our leadership, and we follow our leaders. As long as we have the right leadership and everybody follows that leadership, we will overcome anything that's negative.
We are always stronger together.
Yes, we are. And only love can conquer hate. That's a quote from, I think, Marvin Gaye. Is it a song?
It's a song.
So it's for me, it's amazing to be a part, just to be on the committee, doing whatever little grunt work that needs to be done. I mean, if everybody does a little bit, it takes a whole community. And I think this is going to be, I think Juneteenth is going to be, 2022 is going to be huge. I think it's going to be amazing. It was even celebrated last year in my town of West Haven. I'm originally from Bridgeport, so I do everything, all my volunteer and everything here in Bridgeport. But to see West Haven celebrate Juneteenth on the green, it was really amazing, because that's a whole nother story there. But like I said, it's a change. And everybody is affected by the positive change. So even West Haven and communities that don't know anything about our heritage or never studied it or whatever is open to change and to learn and to come together. And it's amazing. It's a great feeling to be a part of that. And as an adult, I always heard that, it feels so good to give than to receive. As a kid, you want to receive and get money and gifts and all those things. But as a volunteer, now that my two sons are all grown and I'm volunteering here, there, and everywhere, I really, truly understand it feels better to give than to receive.
Well, that's wonderful.
It really is. And so Juneteenth is going to give us that opportunity to do that throughout the community.
All around, absolutely.
It really will. So, I also want to touch a little bit on your amazing career as a breast cancer surgeon. You're the only Black female breast cancer surgeon I've ever met and known, and I just feel so honored to be sitting here with you.
Thank you. You're very kind.
I really do. So that's another really, really amazing accomplishment. Is there any information that you can give our community, even young girls, about, early detection? Because now, mammograms are usually you start at, I think, 40 or 50.
It's 40,
but
yeah.
now things are starting to happen to people
Earlier,
earlier than
yeah.
that. If you have family members that may have had breast cancer, I've always had a problem with the self-breast examinations, what to look for, what to feel for, or what, is there any information that you can just give us?
Yeah. So, breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among women in the United States. And the majority of women who we see with breast cancer, they actually have no family history of the disease. Okay. More than 70% of breast cancers that are identified with the United States, that woman in particular is the first woman in their family to develop the disease. There are about 10% of breast cancers that can be due to hereditary breast cancer, which is what you reference. Okay. It runs within the family, so mom, maybe grandma, there may be an aunt or a sister who's had breast cancer. The current screening guideline is that a woman should begin screening mammography at age 40, but that is for the average risk woman. So if you have an increased risk of breast cancer, which can originate from the fact that you have a strong family history of breast cancer, or perhaps there's an identified genetic mutation that increases your risk of breast cancer, that age may be even much earlier. So for example, women who are carriers of the BRCA1 and 2 mutation, it was recently in the news media because Angelina Jolie tested positive and had bilateral risk-reducing mastectomies. For women who have that mutation, the recommendation is that you should start your screening mammogram at age 25.
Oh my goodness. That's
so much younger.
Mm-hmm.
So what I often tell women is that it's very important to have these conversations with your doctor, your medical doctor, and to find out what is your risk. Are you the average risk woman that starts at age 40? Or do you have a stronger family history of breast cancer, possible a mutation, whether it's identified or unidentified yet? What if mom had breast cancer at 35 or you have a sister with breast cancer, at 33? Right. Then your surveillance, your screening is going to begin much earlier than 40, so it's important to have those conversations. In terms of surveillance and screening moving forward, mammography remains the best screening tool that we have available to detect breast cancer. And I hear a lot of myths around mammography, a lot of women who don't want to get the mammogram because of these myths. But the goal behind
I'm sorry.
It hurts a lot less than having to deal with.
There's all these emails going around with pancakes and
and it's not but it's when you think about the risk benefit, right. What mammography does is find cancer at its early stage. That's what we're hoping, is that you want to find the cancer when it's much early or too early to be felt on clinical exam.
What is mammography?
It's really an x-ray of the breast.
Okay.
It's an x-ray picture of the breast.
It's that machine that when you go for your screening that smashes it.
Well, it pulls the breast together and it takes two views of the breast. And what you're looking for is, are there any changes within the breast that could be reflective of a breast cancer starting to develop or within the breast? We often think that, when a woman comes in and she can feel a lump in her breast, a lot of times, unless it's close to the skin, if it's much deeper, it's probably at least a centimeter or two. That's a larger tumor. We want to find it when it's much smaller. And breast cancer doesn't always present as a mass. It can present as skin changes. It can present as nipple retraction or inversion. It can present as nipple discharge. It may be skin thickening. And on mammography, sometimes breast cancer presents as just microcalcifications. So that's not something that you're going to be able to appreciate on a self-breast exam, or even myself as a surgeon on a clinical breast exam. I'm not going to feel those microcalcifications. But by getting your mammogram, it will identify that area of concern that will most likely then trigger the need for a biopsy of this area to clinch the diagnosis. So it's very important for women to get their mammogram. women of color are twice as likely to die of breast cancer.
Oh, no.
And it is multifactorial. In part has to do with later stage of diagnosis, which makes a huge difference. Breast cancer, when caught early, is a very treatable and manageable disease. You know, the earliest stage of breast cancer is stage 0, which is considered ductal carcinoma in situ. And the 5-year survival for that, it's about 95, 99%. Wow. So these are women who are going on to live normal lives because their cancer was caught early. You know, but you take in contrast that a woman comes in with a much larger lump that's now not only confined to the breast, but it may be in the lymph nodes and different organs of the body. That's advanced stage, so the prognosis is much less when compared to a woman that has breast cancer that is caught very early. So that's why I'm always on my my soapbox, encouraging women to get their mammogram. Women of color, there's a type of breast cancer that's called triple negative breast cancer. Ooh. And it confers a more aggressive biology, which means that increased rate of recurrence and increased likelihood of distant metastasis, so disease elsewhere within the body. And it's more likely to be identified in women of color. So the vigilance regarding screening is so important, you know, and if you've identified a change within your breast that wasn't there before, it's better to be safe.
Than sorry.
Exactly. Seek medical attention. Have a professional look at it. And if you feel as if you're being dismissed and it's not being evaluated thoroughly, see someone else.
Get a second opinion.
Exactly.
I feel like running out to get a mammogram right now. If that doesn't make you want to check your health, because you know I'm like listening to all of this information, and if you haven't had it done this year, go and get it done. Yeah. You know, and if you think you need it early, go and get it early. Your doctor doesn't decide everything for you. If you feel something, your body will give you, you know, warning signs. And like she said, just go get a second opinion. And so I'm getting a little nervous as she's going through all this, just in case you can't tell. Because every time I go, I get a letter. Every time I go and get my mammogram, I get a letter and they want me to come back. And I'm like, well, you know, my breasts are very small, so they squeeze them so tight, and then I have to do, like, I guess a 3D screening of it, and I'm like, and then from the time, from the time of the 3D till somebody calls me and say you're okay, I'm on pins and needles. Yeah. Well, you know, it's the anxiety that comes with that, and a lot of centers, I will tell you, especially within Hartford Healthcare, have gravitated to you coming in and getting your mammogram done, and you have the information before you leave. Oh, yes. The 3D mammography is much better, especially in women with dense breasts when compared to the traditional 2D. And that has also decreased the callback rates, the 3D, because you're able to get better images, sort of like you're scrolling through the breast tissue, whereas the 2D was just a two-dimensional view of the breast tissue itself. In women who have dense breasts and you have a screening mammogram, it may be recommended that you have an ultrasound. And the reason for the ultrasound is that the ultrasound is an additional modality for you to evaluate the breast tissue. When they say you have dense breasts, what it means is that things can hide within the breast very easily. So the ultrasound just offers another alternative. It cannot replace mammography. It's in addition to your mammogram to look through the breast tissue to make sure that there aren't any abnormalities seen that need to be followed up. Okay. Well, I don't have a lot of room for hiding anything. Yeah. Well, you believe it or not, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, absolutely. Oh, gosh. So that is great information. You have to get your mammograms done. You really do. And I can't think of anything more important than healthcare and right at this time, because you know, most women who I meet, they're not intentionally or deliberately saying to themselves, I'm not going to do my mammogram. What typically happens is that they become consumed and busy with other aspects of their lives. They are in the caretaker mode. They're taking care of their children. It may be their spouse. It may be their aging parents. It may be balancing work and family. And they just get tied up with the other responsibilities. So they never get around to prioritizing themselves,
which is a big issue because, as you know, you've got to take care of yourself in order to take care of those around you.
Yep.
So I've been encouraging women, find we call them bosom buddy, who's really an accountability partner for you.
Bosom buddy, I like that.
Yeah, so it's a friend that you've partnered with, that every year you hold each other accountable to getting your mammogram done. And you may choose to go for coffee before or after, or dinner or lunch, whatever your choice may be. But this person, you both hold each other accountable to making sure that you get your screening mammogram done, because it's so important. You're talking about preservation of your health and wellness.
Exactly. And as women, we always, I have put everything first.
Yeah.
Your kids, your husband, and I just realized that all my life, since I had my children, I have been working 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Because I work full-time, and then I come home and I have 2 kids and my husband when they were young. And so all this time, and then you run into football practice and this and that. And we have got to stop putting ourselves last. We got to take out time and, get these things done because they're just so important. We cannot put ourselves last anymore, especially in that field, because it could be life-threatening, especially with the added COVID, concerns that we have. So a lot of COVID deaths are because, I guess, there's chronic illnesses, heart disease or whatever, and people have been living with that. But then when you get the COVID, it just puts you over the top, and we're almost 800,000 people, less than what we were. So please listen to the doctor, stop whatever you're doing, just make the appointment. When I go out to my primary care doctor, they always make sure I go get my mammogram, I go get my blood, and this and that and the other.
Yeah.
So make sure you get those things done. We have about a minute and a half left to our show, so I want to give the last minute to Dr. Camilla Lawrence, and what would you like to say to our audience here?
It's been a pleasure being with you, and I look forward, to celebrating Juneteenth 2022 as a Grand Marshal. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any great ideas of how you can support this momentous occasion. And as it pertains to breast cancer screening, if you have not had your mammogram yet, this is the time to get it done. We know that breast cancer has not stopped because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so we must continue to be vigilant. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. That was so nice. In other words, go get a mammogram.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And follow us on YouTube, please. Thank you. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.